Machinist.
Oh, nice. Hello level.
54.
Oh, oh, shit. That's some crazy fucking DPS, man.
Uh,
Yeah, you hear everything you do.
what?
You should type some. They type something in voice. I bought some of this Japanese soft drink, Pocari Sweat.
Yeah.
It's literally called Pocari Sweat. The water looks like sweat, like the actual drink itself.
Oh, that's funny.
It's good though.
Yeah, I'm leveling machinist. I forgot to reply to it. Gotta either. I am leveling machinist. My method? Right now I'm just doing the main quest because I leveled up a bunch by just mostly waiting in queues for leveling up, and the 67, 80, 60, 70, and 80.
How did you redo your dailies today?
Let me check actually. No, I'm at 60. We're doing 60 MSQs. That's the reason why I want to get to 60 at least, so I can do Stormblood with my machinist.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like I have to get to like 65, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was it. Let's see. It's 66. You have to get to level 66.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm also not in a rush to do Stormblood, by the way. So
Yeah, I'm down with that. That'd be a lot easier, I guess.
you want to
If you
spam
want.
50, 60, 70 with me.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm down for that.
you guys can
I'll
go
be
for it.
your DPS.
I'm gonna try to level up Summoner, because Summoner can revive at level 50, so. Or level 16 he can revive. Like, god damn,
Yeah,
so.
nice. Thank you.
I'm level 10 right now, so I can't really join you. Come on, give me. Oh, that's not it at all. I'm just gonna turn in my fucking numbers to this calculator. What's part of the reason? The second part, well, that's one reason. That's one reason. But reason number two is that I heard it's fun and it's got a lot of buttons and like
Got a lot of buttons.
yeah. I mean, you know me and button. I love buttons, man. How I do it. Oh man. Don't question how I do things. I just do them because I think it's how it is. God damn it, dude! I shuffled so many times. I'm just gonna turn this book. I just don't. stupid Wondrous
Or the
Tales.
tank. They're the tank.
What's today, Wednesday? I might as well turn it in, just get me a block. Oh, yeah, I'll do that. So, corn mark. Oh my god, I got nothing. That sucks. I got no lines on my fucking card, dude. That's impossible. I get nothing. You kidding me? Level 50 and below? Fuck. I should probably watch a YouTube video about it before I actually commit some time.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know what to do. So stupid, whatever. My new book.
Oh, I think I turned on my book expired, so I got nothing that week.
You had 2 weeks to do it.
I just forgot about it.
Oh man. Oh, you know what I was gonna do with Star Legend? Actually, I'm gonna cheat. So I'm gonna macro the draw button. I'm gonna make it. I will cast the ability, and then I don't know if it'll actually work. Let's see. I'll cast the ability, and then I'll set a timer for 30 seconds, and then it'll ping me when I get to draw another card. So I always forget. I'm gonna do that macro right now, actually. Macro. Yeah. Yes, sir. Macro icon. Draw. And see. Action.
Oh god, that's whoa.
Weights.
Oh, that's not good actually. Oh god.
Try that out.
Ooh, that looks sick. I'm gonna need that.
Okay, that kind of works actually.
Word, 70 for Stormblood, and then finally Sprint. Just let's begin. At a cost of 200 mana, this basic spell does 180 potency. You'll be spamming this spell a lot as you level up. Point at the enemy and bio. Costing 400 mana, this is an instant cast spell that does no damage on impact. Instead, it is a damage over time or dot effect. In this game, dots do damage, or tick, by the potency of the dot for the total potency. If bio lasts the entire duration, it does 200 potency. This isn't much higher than Ruin, but this is a side effect of being low level. If your enemy will last the whole 30 seconds, it is still better to use. However, due to the fact that this is a dot, you do not do any extra damage. So throw it on an enemy, then swap back to Ruin. Don't be too worried about the long timer on the dot. Practice using bio now, just to develop the habit. On bosses, try to always keep your dots up. Level 4, Physic. Level 4, Physic. Level 4, Summon. This instant cast off global ability will summon an adorable little on. This will give then Kirby away. He targeting circle, Kirby stop, and sit still. Guard is on by default. This is a stance that will allow Kirby to fight any enemies that you attack, or attack in the list. Sick. Ordering Kirby. Kirby is the goodest of boys. It's a recast of 3 seconds, much like Servatix, and does 20 potency to the target and all enemies within 5 yalms. As such, Blue Kirby is basically a permanent AoE dot. He is also a mage pet, so he can 100 MP cost and not an instant cast. It does 20 potency on hit and 200 potency dot, much like bio, so in total, 220 potency. So now we have 2 dots, and Miasma being slightly stronger thanks to the initial hit. So now we can use Miasma, then Bio, and then return to spamming Ruin until everything is dead. At level 8, but be sure them now. Example of a skill with multiple charges. It has a 30-second cooldown and can store 2 charges. Upon using this skill, you will begin charging your next use, much like any normal OGCD ability. This is not an ability though, but a spell. This means it activates the GCD, so treat it like Ruin or your dots. Using Eggy Assault will order Blue Kirby to use Downburst. This will do 100 potency to the target and enemies within 5 yalms of the target. On 3 or more enemies, this is your strongest attack. On 2, It is only stronger than Ruin. As you're quickly noticing, Blue Kirby is an AoE pet. The more enemies you're up against, the better he is. Keep this in mind for party content. Solo, don't aggro too much at once. You're still just a squishy little mage. Level 12, Resurrection. This costs a massive 2400 mana and takes a whopping 8 seconds to cast. This returns the player back to life with typically your party's healers who died. You can save the day in the worst of cases. Level 15, Summon 2. This skill does not automatically unlock like your previous skills. This is because it is a quest skill. As you level, you should be doing your class quests for not just gear, but skills. This is the first of many,
LBs.
and all future quest skills will be
I
mainly
don't have
noted
fucking
on
limit break
screen.
on
Just
Mike
keep
Gunner.
doing the quests.
Machinist.
Here is our second Kirby,
I put it on.
Yellow Kirby. And while I love the color yellow, Yellow Kirby is dumb and stupid.
You too.
Okay, he's a lot better than he used to be. His basic attack is Gouge for
Yeah,
40
man, he
potency.
learned from the best, man. I was like, no, don't put limit break on. You sure? Yeah, man, you don't need that. When do you ever use it, man? Come on, think about it. Oh yeah, you're right.
Much stronger for single target situations. Perfectly timed.
What do I do with this empty slot? I don't know, put like a food there or something.
Timed for your first dungeon. You can start learning to swap pets back and forth. During trash pulls with multiple enemies, Blue Kirby is far superior, but on bosses, Yellow is going to be way better. Note the shared recast timer. It's more of a formality as swapping pets every 3 seconds has no use for anything. Even swapping to Yellow Kirby for just a shield, then back to Blue Kirby takes a little longer than that. His attack isn't his selling point though. He's actually a support pet, as his Eggy Assault is Glittering Topaz. This gives you a defensive barrier on your character for 30% of your max HP. This is a really, really beefy shield, even for a mage. In solo instances, it could be a huge help. In party content, it's not all that good. It does find use, but not quite as often. If there's an emergency and healers are struggling, it could be the difference between life and death. Unlike Blue Kirby, this Kirby is a melee Kirby. It can't attack enemies unless it runs up to them. At level 18, we gain the roll action, Swift Cast. But if you... This ability is on a 30-second cooldown and does 100 potency of damage to the target. It additionally gives you Aether Flow 2. The 100 potency seems worthless, but as an OGCD, it's free damage. But what about that Aether Flow 2 effect? We now have a new gauge. 2 diamonds that light up upon using Energy Drain. The 2 of the Aether Flow 2 is because you gain 2 stacks of Aether Flow. You can now spend each cast separately, but right now at level 18, we only have one thing to spend them on. Level 18, Fester. This is also an ability, with a very short 5-second recast. Its base 100 potency on a target is unimportant and really bad. However, let's look at the additional effect. If you have dots applied to the enemy you use Fester on, the potency increases by 100 for each dot. So with one dot, it is 200 potency, and both dots, it's a whopping 300 potency. One note we need to watch out for is that using Fester immediately after a dot can use it to not recognize the dot. To deserve it ticks, you have to wait a tiny bit to ensure the dot applies, then Fester. So now we have what is essentially a very, very early opening rotation. With how Summon It works though, this is a good time to build our first opener and go over the thought process. Pre-pull. Summon our pet if one isn't already up, place pet near the target, then do the following. Miasma, Bio, Energy Drain, Fester,
Oh, we had to kill this
Ruin,
fucking thing. I forgot.
Ruin, Fester,
Okay.
and then spam Ruin until
press
you
the
can
button.
repeat this sequence. We will always want to pet out, so that part seems obvious enough. We start with our dots because they both get only a full potency after a very long duration, and because needing them on for Fester. We then energy drain between GCDs, using the instant cast nature of Bio to lose no time between GCDs. This is called weaving. It can be done most effectively with any instant cast spells. We use Festa here for the same reason, and we can fit both in a single weave without clipping into our GCD time. We then have to wait out the 5-second recast of Fester, so we use 2 ruins for filler. We can then use our second Fester. This leaves us with only Eggy Assault and Ruin to use. Since on single targets like this opener is made for, Eggy Assault will only do a weaker than Ruin AoE or a self-shield. We just don't use it, leaving us only Ruin to use until our dots fall off. It's extremely basic, but Summoner builds upon this flow all the way up until level 80. Level 20, Maim is basically at level 20, Corruption Mastery, and Bio 2. The trait of Corruption Mastery simply upgrades Bio to Bio 2. The icon will change to match this, and a new updated tooltip for Bio 2. It now costs 600 mana, which doesn't really mean anything. It ups the 20 potency of Bio to 30 potency, increasing the power to 300 potency total. Because of this, we want to switch to using this before Miasma, since it's so much more effective. Be sure to still only use Fester once both dots are applied to the enemy. Level 30, Bane. This ability is a very short 10-second recast off global cooldown. It will take the dots of your chosen target and spread the effect to all enemies within 8 yalms, much further than most other target-centered AoEs. The downsides are twofold. The duration is only as high as the dot on the target enemy, so if a dot has 20 seconds left on the target and you use Bane, all enemies will get a copy of the dot at 20 seconds remaining. The other downside is it cuts the potency of the attack to only 40% on all targets affected by Bane. This is extremely low. So a 300 potency bio would become only 120 potency. This is still really strong when you consider you don't have to cast your dots on every individual enemy now. But assuming all enemies will live for the full 30-second duration of your dots, on anywhere up to 3 or 4 enemies it is probably better to just individually dot every enemy. Knowing when and when not to Bane is going to be very tricky and take learning the flow of the game, at least until level 50 and beyond. Time to kill is fairly low early on, but once you get
Nice.
Nice. Oh, nice. Hell yeah. Oh, I sold all my fucking bullshit.
Ah, nice. Ooh, what's this? Try that's nice. I did have it. Nice, GG.
14,000? Wow. Crap. Can wait something.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay.
get into higher levels, Bane does a better job of lasting the full duration. It also does a better job of hitting more targets, since tanks will likely start pulling more enemies at once. Bigger the group of enemies, the better Bane will be. Such is the way with all AoE attacks. One other note I glossed over is the 15% chance to entirely reset the timers of the dots. This is very low. You also really only want to be using Bane immediately after applying your dots to your initial target, so at most that 15% will give you 1 to 2 ticks of extra damage. It adds up on bigger pulls, but it's otherwise not too huge. The same thing with Fester applies here. Do not use immediately after your second dot. Hold a tiny bit, a half a global at most, to ensure both dots are applied. At level 30, you will be able to undertake your first job quest to obtain a soul stone, as well as your first job action. You must also complete all class quests from your guild. The other requirement is the level 20 main story quest, Self-Management. This takes place soon after joining a grand company. This won't be an issue on normal servers, but any server long before the locks at level. Summon 3. Say goodbye to Yellow Carby inside dungeons. Ifrit Eggy is your new best friend. Your hard-fought job quest awards you with the Attacker Pet. His basic attack is 80 potency. This is stronger than Blue Carby up to 4 targets, which is a huge potency increase. Depending on the dungeon and how much the tank pulls, Ifrit is going to be better for the whole run for this alone. He also has an Eggy Assault of Crimson Cyclone, a single target 250 potency hit on a chosen target. This Eggy Assault is weaker than Blue Carby's Downburst on 3 or more targets, so up to 3, use Ifrit. More than 3, Blue Carby is going to do more. Ifrit is also a melee pet, like Summon 2. He will also be the pet I use for the rest of the video, unless talking specifically about another pet. Level 35, Energy Siphon. This is pet. Will be the pet I use for the rest. It's also Ifrit. More than potency. Also has an Eggy Assault. Ifrit is going to be better for the whole run for this alone. He also has an Eggy Assault of Crimson Cyclone, a single target 250 potency hit on a chosen target. This Eggy Assault is weaker than Blue Carby's Downburst on 3 or more targets, so up to 3, use Ifrit. More than 3, Blue Carby is going to do more. Cyclone, a single target, depending on your hard-fought job quest. This is stronger than Blue Carby up to 4 targets, which is a huge potency increase. Depending on the dungeon and how much the tank pulls, Ifrit is going to be better for the whole run for this alone. He also has an Eggy Assault of Crimson Cyclone, a single target 250 potency hit on a chosen target. This Eggy Assault is weaker than Blue Carby's Downburst on 3 or more targets, so up to 3, use Ifrit. More than 3, Blue Carby is going to do more. Ifrit is also a melee pet, like Summon 2. He will also be the pet I use for the rest of the video, unless talking specifically about another pet. Level 35, Energy Siphon. This is simply an AoE version of Energy Drain, sharing a recast timer of 30 seconds. It does 40 potency to all enemies within 5 yalms of initial target, so on as few as 3 enemies, Energy Siphon is superior. We also have an extra upgrade. Yellow Carby gets an upgrade. For mastering Earth Aether, we can now rock band us a giant chicken nugget. Titan Eggy is a slightly improved version of Summon 2, with none of the fanfare of skills or traits. His basic attack is a 60 potency Rockbuster, and his Eggy Assault is Earthen Armor, and does the same 30% self-shield. Very tiny upgrade, but an upgrade. Level 38, Ruin 2. Despite the name, Ruin 2 is weaker than Ruin 1 at 160 potency. Not much weaker, but still weaker. It also costs 400 mana. The awesome part is that it is an instant cast spell. This means you can finally move and attack consistently. If you can't get Ruin out due to dodging attacks or doing mechanics, Ruin 2 is there to save you. It also allows you to weave like we did with Bio. Trying to use abilities while your GCD is finished is pretty bad, so now anytime you need to weave OGCDs, you can use Ruin 2, then use the OGCDs while your GCD rolls. Level 40, Maim and Mend 2. Same thing as Maim and Mend, but 30% increased damage instead. Again, not really important. Level 40, Eggy Assault 2. This is the last Arcanist skill we will get. Just like Eggy Assault 1, it can hold 2 charges and has a base 30-second charge timer. Each summon has a different spell. Blue Carby has Glittering Emerald. This does 30 potency to the target and all enemies within 5 yalms of it. It also creates a small puddle with a 5 yalm radius underneath the initial target that works as a dot. It does 30 potency per tick for 9 seconds, so in total, this is a 120 potency dot per enemy. Yellow Carby should already be Titan by now, unless Road to 70 happened, but has Shining Topaz, a 200 potency AoE hitting all enemies within 5 yalms of it. Titan Eggy is Mountain Buster, a 250 potency attack on all enemies within 5 yalms of Titan. A really good AoE for being the support pet. Ifrit Eggy has Flaming Crush, a 250 potency hit on a target and 125 potency on all enemies within 5 yalms of the initial enemy. And this is way stronger than what Blue Carby does. At this point, just stick to Ifrit for entire dungeons. Trying to maximize the damage between Ifrit and Blue Carby is too much work for what it's worth, unless you are a huge min-maxer, which is beyond the scope of this guide. Pop these off anytime they are good to use, as they're all stronger than Ruin in the correct circumstances as noted for each pet. Level 40, Outburst. This is a really good skill for AoE. For 400 MP, this does 70 potency to a target and all targets within 5 yalms of the initial enemy. So on 2 targets, this is weaker than Ruin. On 3 or more, it is better than Ruin. And as I've said, more enemies hit, the more damage this does. Trash Pulls, this is your go-to ability for filler. Spam it plenty after you've done your dot duty and done your Eggy Assaults. At level 44, we gain our final roll action. We do, however, get Garuda Eggy, a direct upgrade to Summon 1. Her basic attack is a 30 potency air assault is Aerial Slash. 150 potency AoE to target an Eggy Assault 2 is Slipstream. 50 potency and a 9-second ground dot for 50 potency per hit at 200 potency total. This is an 80 potency increase. All in all, this is a huge upgrade and makes Summon 1 usable again. Garuda for trash pulls, Titan for solo play, and some very fringe uses outside that, and Ifrit for boss. Titan for solo play, and some Summon 1 usable again. Garuda for trash pulls, Titan for solo play, and some very fringe uses outside that, and Ifrit for bosses. Exceptions exist all around. Very fringe uses outside that, and trash pulls, Titan for solo play, and some very fringe uses outside that, and Ifrit for bosses. Exceptions exist all around it, but in general, this is how we want to handle things. There is also an odd little quirk with Garuda. This applies to Titan too. Yet Eggies do not downgrade with level syncing. From now on, Summon 1 is Garuda, and Summon 2 is Titan. Same potency levels too. This is the only fully permanent upgrade of all jobs.
Wow.
It's a bit special. Level 50, Enkindle. On a 180-second recast, we have an OGCD pet command that tells them to use their signature attack. Let's go over each one. Garuda has Aerial Blast, which does 350 potency to a target and all enemies within 5 yalms of the original target. That's a pretty hefty hit, especially for an AoE. Titan has Earthen Fury. Centered around Titan, it does a 300 potency hit and an AoE puddle for 15 seconds, dealing 20 potency per tick. In total, this is 400 potency per enemy. This is even above Garuda, but her Eggy Assaults make her way stronger. Ifrit has Inferno. 300 potency in a cone in front of him and a dot on all enemies hit for 20 potency per tick for 15 seconds. Once again, 400 potency. The cone shape, however, makes it way worse than either Garuda's or Titan's, since those are full circles, where this is only a small area in front of him. Weave these in wherever you can. So it's been a while, but let's build another opener. We have a lot more now. I only went over general use cases and not any good openers. mostly because of the specific use cases of each pet. For all openers, I assume single target, since AoE is a lot more free form and depends on enemy counts. But anyway, let's craft one, then let's go through it. Pre-pull, summon your pet, Ifrit ID, IO2, Energy Drain, Miasma, Eggy Assault, Enkindle, Eggy Assault 2, Fester, Eggy Assault, Lucid Dreaming, and put him in. Pre-pull, summon your pet, and Lucid Dreaming, Eggy Assault 2, Fester, then ruin spam filler until your dots fall off and your OGCDs come back up.
Oh, I shouldn't
So
be here.
obviously we want to pet out, but we want to avoid Titan if our goal is damage, since Eggy Assault 1 for Titan is a shield. We place him in front of the boss so he starts attacking the moment we do, with no run-up time. As mentioned before, Bio is stronger currently, so we want to start with that to get it rolling.